You want to know one of the most annoying things about this movie is? I feel there's a little
You know, I
bit to
just can't
understand
believe
what
you
I'm
sometimes.
saying
It's
when I'm
just so
talking at the
crazy
same
how you
time as you.
think
That's all. I
that
just think
is
it's weird. I think it's
acceptable.
really
Your
strange that they do
behaviour
that,
is
and it's really
just
weird that they
beyond
put
belief.
that in the
I
film.
can't
You know,
believe
that's
you
what they're
didn't
going to do.
do
That's what they're
that.
going to do. I
Your
can't stop
behaviour
thinking that
is just
that's their
really
decision.
grinding my
What does
gears
it
on
matter?
how
What's it to
you
do with
think
you? I mean,
that's
it doesn't matter. I mean,
acceptable
why are you
in
saying
any
that?
way
Does it
at
really
all.
matter?
You've
Does it
really
really,
got to cause
really
me some
matter?
trouble,
You
and
really
don't
got
try and do it
to
anyway. You just think you can do it all, but you can't. You just think you're so
my God, you're so hard to
big
work with. Oh
man.
my God,
You're
why am I doing
not,
this?
you know,
That. Hello, hello, and welcome to Red Shoe Media with me, Tom Elgie, and today I am reviewing Iron Man 2. Da, 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 da. I like this film a lot. I think this is a very good attempt at a sequel. People are saying that I've heard a lot of mixed things about it before I went in. It starts in the usual way with all this really cool stuff happening. Tony Stark is opening his expo in the middle of the city. He does this big entrance, which is a really impressive shot, actually. It's filmed very well, where he comes down. I know most of it is CGI, but he comes down through the air in his Iron Man suit, and he lands, and it all comes off, and he's stood there all majestic and mighty. I actually thought about opening this video like that, and then I realised I really don't have the budget for that. But needless to say, it doesn't last, because we see Tony Stark go from being this majestic guy to it going to his head and him becoming a royal dick to people, which in itself is very entertaining to watch. I actually love watching Robert Downey Jr., who is phenomenal in this, as always. I really like watching him be a dick to everybody in this film. It's really good to see. Gwyneth Paltrow is also as beautiful as ever in this film. She does such an amazing job, and she's, you know, they've made her character have a bit more to her this time, which is great. Towards the beginning of the movie, he gives her his company, which is played very well. I thought it's a bit of a, you know, as a move for the story, it makes sense and it's good and it works for what they need it to do, but they have to do it right, and they did a great job of that. That was really good to see. Really well, you know, on all parts. Writing was on point and all for that. It came out very natural the way it happened. It could have just been a slap it in there sort of thing, but it was very natural, very good, and I like the way they did that. And you can see that she's really genuinely concerned for Tony Stark's health as well as a person, and his health and his future and what's happening with him, because here is some stuff that he is doing that is just, it's not crazy, but it's not doing anyone any good, and you can tell that she's really worried about his health. And you start to see from the moment they are first on screen together in this film, as you kind of could at the end of the last one, that there could be something deeper there. And I have to say, spoiler alert, it makes sense what happens at the end, because they built to that very well, and it's added so much more context to that bit in the first movie where she pulls out and puts in his heart. That to me is a metaphor for their relationship. One of the issues I have with this movie, though, and I know they're trying to say that Tony Stark can do whatever he wants because he's really rich, he's really powerful, and he's got everything, and he's got that power and that push and the charisma and all that. Although, despite that, I do think that it's a bit silly that he decided to race in Formula 1 in this. It's just how he goes from an upper crust affair to being in the Formula 1 car in a seamless second. I know it's supposed to be part of the humour of it, and it's part of the moment. I just feel like it took something away, because it was a little bit like, well, how did he get there, and how did no one notice, and all that. It's just a very strange thing to happen. I know they're trying to say Tony Stark can do what he wants, and I love that. That's great. But I feel like there has to be a line somewhere, and that was just on the edge of it. But of course his race is cut short by our bad guy, played by Rourke. I hate him in absolutely everything he's in, but he's really good in this film. So I'd heard some mixed reviews about this, but all being told, I actually enjoyed it an awful lot. It wasn't the monster of greatness that Iron Man was, but it didn't have to be, really. It just didn't live up to it. I do feel like a lot of this film's failure is Iron Man 1's success. I just thought it felt a little bit rushed and clunky in places. I feel like they were trying to get this sequel out there when they could have just drawed it in and held it back a little bit, when, you know, took their time with it a little bit more. But it is still a good film. It's not a great film, but it's a good film. I had a really good time watching it. As much as I loved all the fame going to Tony Stark's head and all that happening, I have to say the one bit that did sort of bugged me a little bit was when he was getting drunk and he was wearing the Iron Man suit. He looked like Buzz Lightyear to me. It didn't have the effect I thought it would. It just looked like he was being... It made the suit look cheap, and it made him look like more like he's supposed to be going... He's a dick, but he's supposed to be a lovable dick, and he just looked like a flat-out dick in this. And I didn't like how he treated Gwyneth Paltrow, Pepper Potts, in that moment. I feel like he shouldn't really have... He went a bit too far for what happens at the end. Like, if they're going to get together, that's great. But some of the things he did, and I know he tries to make it up to her, but I just feel like they never really addressed it. He tried to, but they never spoke about what I thought they were going to speak about for that to happen. Felt very much like they wanted something for the second act that would be that would mean it's that he was on his own in the mansion and that's what they got. But it just felt a little bit like it didn't really serve a purpose in this film other than getting him to meet up with Nick Fury and introduce some of them, because obviously we're starting to set up the Avengers now. I liked the new Rhodey. I liked him a lot. I feel like it's a shame they couldn't have the same one, but if they couldn't, this guy is He'll Do Me is fine. He's really good, and I like that he becomes what he does. Then Scarlett Johansson. Acting was on point. She beat up some guys. She really schools all the female leads of that time. Like Kristen Stewart and Megan Fox were all out and about at that point making these movies. And I feel like Scarlett Johansson, while being eye candy, which is what they're all the names I've just mentioned are supposed to be in their films they are in. Not saying they all are, but in their films, that's what they're really there for. I feel that they should all take a leaf out of Johansson's book and not just be eye candy, but act really well as well. Because if you can act really well, you don't have to rely on all of this. And when you know, now, where are some of these actors now? I love the court case at the start as well, backtracking here a little bit, but I don't care. I love it when Tony Stark is, he's all sat there and he's like, I just privatised world peace. Brilliant line, brilliant moment, a lot like the Tony Stark we knew in the first film. That's when I feel like, that's when he should be that sort of dick in the film. The Avengers setup itself was a little bit forced, but I liked it. It still worked, and it wasn't too much ramming down our throats, but as I say, it was a little bit forced. But above all, it's a good fun movie, definitely worth a look, and it continues the franchise in a way that leads to much, much more. I personally cannot wait to see where this puppy goes. I mean, I've seen it start now, and I'm really excited to catch up with all of you guys and everyone who has seen it, because it's exciting. So many of them are ready to go, and a new one coming out too. Tell you what, once I'm in that theatre and I've seen Civil War, it's going to be really strange to think I have to wait with everyone else for that next chapter of the story. But Doctor Strange isn't that far away. I mean, we get 2 or 3 a year now, so, you know, I will never have it as bad as those that watched these ones that I'm watching now, where they had to wait a year or two for the next one. This is now something that we get regularly on our film schedules, and we can get excited about it, and, you know, there's one every season. There's something, be it a Marvel film, another Marvel film, a Star Wars film, anything like that. It's going to be a great triumph, and I cannot wait to see it. I'm going to rate it. I've been rating them all so far. I am going to give this a 7. Could be worse, could be better, but it's strong enough to keep this franchise going in the right direction and take it to the heights that I have yet to explore. So, ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you for watching. Click like if you enjoyed this video, click subscribe if you want to see more, and I will be back next time with my review of Thor, which I am very much looking forward to talking to you about. Until then, as always, see you around. Too much ramming down our throats, but as I say, it was a little bit forced.